found an old journal. What was written inside shocked them. They say some secrets are meant to stay buried in the ruins of a forgotten village at the edge of the Nika Plain. My grandfather uncovered a journal bound in grayish leather. Its pages were stained with ink, darker than blood, and whispered promises no living soul should hear. My grandmother's voice still echoes, never read from a dead man's journal. The words are doorways, and what comes through cannot be sent back. He ignored her warning, drawn by curiosity. We all paid the price for his fascination. I am Dalila Okello, the last of my bloodline. For generations, this journal has haunted us, driving men mad and leaving shadows in its wake. Now its chain has come to me, and I must tell you everything before it's too late. It began in 1965. My grandfather, Jabari Okello, was a celebrated archaeologist mapping forgotten villages across East Africa. On an expedition near Lake Tanganyika, he stumbled on Kijiji Chavi for the village of Detha, place locals swore was cursed by poisoned words. The elders begged him not to disturb the huts. They claimed the ground itself was angry, but Jabari dismissed such talk as superstition. He was a man of science, certain that reason alone could conquer any myth. For 3 days, he and his team cataloged the vacant structures and ancient artifacts. On the fourth day, he struck a hollow spot beneath the elder's hut. Beneath hardened clay lay a compartment. Inside, wrapped in waxed cloth, was the journal. The binding cord was braided hair, fastened with drops of dried blood. The leather shifted in the lantern glow, as if alive. Jabari felt a chill when he touched it, but his obsession blinded him to danger. That night, he began translating Misafiri's words, a keeper of dangerous tales who trapped stories in ink mixed with bone and blood. Each entry described horrors bound to those pages, spirits that lusted for freedom. Misafiri wrote of the long-fingered woman who stole children for her skeletal brood, and of the Laughing Hyena Man whose cackles drove entire clans to madness. He warned that reading aloud would unleash them. But Jabari pressed on, fascinated by this intersection of folklore and anthropology. He recorded each word in meticulous field notes, unaware that every syllable breathed life into the trapped entities. Before dawn, the camp guards heard a terrible sound. Something moved at the edge of their firelight, crooking and on all fours. It laughed a human laugh twisted with bestial cunning and cast no shadow. They froze as its long back arched and its jaws split into a grin. A photograph caught its blur, but only the hyena's gaze remains etched in memory. At first light, Jabari abandoned the village, clutching the journal. Back home in Nairobi, he secured the book in a box filled with salt and iron filing. He believed his caution would hold the darkness at bay. Yet, that very night, scratching sounds seeped from his locked study. The family dog whimpered at empty corners, refusing to enter rooms once safe. Objects moved on their own accord. Chairs dragged across floors. Doors swung open despite locked. Footprints appeared in the dust of many toes, too long to belong to any human. Jabari grew pale and gaunt, his eyes sunken with feverish obsession. He barricaded himself among his books, the journal always open before him. My grandmother pleaded for him to stop, but he only whispered, "I must finish translating." One night, he emerged in a panic. "I have been reading them into the world," he gasped, pointing down the hallway. My grandmother saw nothing, but Jabari described a woman with branch-like fingers trailing behind her. They fled to my grandmother's sister's home, but the curse followed. Flames consumed the house in a roaring inferno, leaving only Ashan to the journal, untouched by fire. Still bound with that braid of hair, Jabari never recovered. He abandoned his work and refused to speak of the journal again. My father grew up in whispered fear, never understanding why the family moved from place to place. On his deathbed 5 years ago, my grandfather summoned my father. He revealed the journal's hideaway. Warning, they grow stronger with every mind that knows of them. Keep the words bound. Never read them. My father kept his promise, hiding the journal in a bank's safe deposit box. He believed time would weaken its hold. Yet, 3 weeks ago, everything changed. A student researching folklore reached out, mentioning the village of silent stories in the name. That night, I dreamed of a starless sky and villagers crouched in a circle around a reader bound in gray leather. Shadows peeled from their bodies, forming hungry shapes that skittered into darkness. I tried to warn them, but no sound came. The reader turned toward me, and I woke with my heart pounding. At dawn, I found a box open on my desk. The journal lay across my chest, its braid of hair unwound like a lifeless snake. Panic propelled me to Nyambura, a guardian of old rights outside Nairobi. When I showed her the journal, "You have brought them into the light," she said. "You have completed a cycle centuries in the making." She warned that the entities thrived on knowledge and fear. We could not destroy the stories without freeing the spirits entirely. We could not rebind the words, for only the original keeper possessed that secret. Our only hope was controlled telling. For 7 nights, we prepared. We gathered herbs for incense, salt from 7 seas, and ink blended from rare minerals. At midnight on the 7th night, we began the ritual of Nyambura drew our protective circle of salt and iron. I opened the journal and read aloud the first story. The long-fingered woman who traded stolen children for bundles of sticks. Shadows slithered along the walls as I spoke each word. In the candlelight, her form materialized tall, thin, her spidery fingers scraping against the floor. I pressed on, voice trembling but unwavering. Next came the Laughing Hyena Man, his 2 forms dancing between predator and friend. Outside the circle, laughter echoed hyena cackles mixed with human glee that rattled my bones. Story after story, I gave them voice. Each tale summoned its creature-eating snarling, pressing against our salt barrier. I felt their hunger, their need to escape the pages and become flesh once more. By dawn's pale light, I reached the final complete entry. Then came Miss Afiri's unfinished tale of the reader, a being that dwells between written word and thought, heart hammering. I read the words that ended The journal snapped shut with explosive force, driving the book into my palm and snapping a bone. Darkness swallowed the room as the lamp guttered out. When I reopened my eyes, Nyambura whispered, "It's done!" The stories are contained, but the air still crackled with restless menace. Since that night, silence has fallen, but it is fragile. I dream of words drifting in blackness, seeking to complete their tale. Each morning, the braid around the journal loosens further. Now I speak these words to you. These are not mere tales to thrill or haunt. They are ancient spirits bound to ink and bone, hungry for form and freedom. Listen only as a warning. If you ever find a leather-bound book stained with strange ink, do not read it. Close it. Bury it. Leave it alone. Close your eyes tonight and watch the darkness behind your eyelids. If letters swirl like smoke, if a voice whispers your name in unfamiliar tones, resist the urge to follow. Do not give these entities power by belief. Never read along. And whatever you do, not become the next keeper of words.